Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Oyindi Furifredani Mashapa, Manayana Wamovenda. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, a veteran in this channel, welcome back for yet another exciting episode of Risk, Money and Insurance. And so I was checking on my stats. Apparently, around 40% of the people that watch my videos haven't subscribed to my channel. Like, mind-blowing. So if you haven't subscribed, please do the right thing and subscribe, click the subscribe button below. Don't forget to also hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video, which will be on a Thursday at 7 p.m. And so today I am here because, I was looking at my budgets and every single thing. So let me just take you through like what I do with my budgeting. I draw up a budget, like I have a monthly budget that I follow, and every single month I have two columns. I have the expected, which is sort of like what I intend to plan on that specific line item, and I also have the actual, right, to say how much did I actually spend at the end of the day, right? So as I was doing that exercise in the past 2 months or so, I've realized that, when they say things have become expensive, like, things have become expensive. And I was just looking at, how can I actually save, on my budgets? What can I do to save, a few rands here and there on my budgets? And I thought it would be fun to do this video where we just chat through some of the things that I have, number one, implemented, some of the things that I plan to implement, because this economy, Cyril, is not the one. It is not the one. Like, everything is expensive, from food, from petrol, to just data. Everything is just expensive. Interest rates, they're like up in the roof, and now we are also looking at interest rates being hiked again. And I'm just like, when does it end? When the prime rate is at 20%, is that where it ends? Because honestly, it is ridiculous. So I've noted down like a couple of things here so that I sort of speak to them in like an orderly fashion. But anyways, the three parts of your budget, right? It's mainly the income section of your budget. The second part is your fixed expenses. The third part is sort of your variable expenses, and then you can have a section for, investments or like savings, so that they're also included in your budgets. But today, the sections that I'm going to focus on your budget are the three sections that I mentioned. So your income, your fixed expenses, and also just your variable expenses. Right, let's start with income, right? If you are a 9-to-5 kind of person, you have a salary that comes in every single month. But if you're an entrepreneur or like whatever you do, you will have, income coming from your business or whatever it is that you do, right? But the section of your income, right, I feel like it's one of those where you now need to start thinking about getting passive income. Like, this is not the economy, guys, of having one source of income. And I was sitting down and I was thinking about this. I'm like, this is not the economy where you get paid only once a month. This economy doesn't want that. This economy wants you to have, 500 coming in, unexpectedly, 1,000 rands coming in unexpectedly. That's the kind of economy that we're sort of in right now. So I'd say the first step is just to try and supplement your income one way or the other. And I have to say that I am working on a project right now that it's just going to help supplement my income. And I've been putting in the hours and the effort. It's just that I'm not at liberty to say yet. So you guys may just watch the space and see that happening. But I will also share like how in the previous years I was making extra money, right? So besides the project that now this year I'm sort of focusing on a lot, like it's chowing a lot of my free time because I really want to see this project through. I used to tutor as well, right? right? So if you find that you're a good, student, you love maths, like for example, if you did actuarial science, mathematics, especially high school maths, should be something that's easy for you to like tackle, prepare for, and all of that if you are tutoring someone. So I think this is the best time, to use whatever knowledge that you have to start tutoring someone. Say you're not really academically inclined, because I remember a friend of mine, we were creating digital learning content like crazy 2020, 2021, because we were like, listen, bro, the pandemic has given us an opportunity, right? People are going online to look for stuff now because they couldn't go to classes physically and all of that. And I still believe that there is still a market for that, but I think, you just have to be strategic around how you do your things so that you make your money. But that was like the first thing, supplement your income via tutoring. But also other things. I remember I did try, surveys and all of that. If I'm being honest, I subscribed to like a lot of surveys, but none of them ever really, what I found ended up happening was that some of them, they would ask me a bunch of questions and afterwards they'll say I don't qualify or whatever, or I'll just end like a few points and all of that. So making money from surveys, if I'm being honest, it's like that one thing that people mention a lot to say, oh, you can make money from surveys, you can make money from surveys. I think I was one of them who mentioned that. But when I did it, in my experience, maybe I just didn't, catch the right websites or all of that. But honestly, I didn't make any money from surveys. So I've just like cut out surveys altogether because that didn't really amount to anything. It really didn't amount to anything. But another thing that you can try out, is selling stuff. Honestly, in this economy, try sell something. Like, what are you interested in? What are you doing? Like, I have a friend who has started a brand now. She's selling t-shirts and it's a whole thing that's going on. Like, that's something that you can try out. Find something that you're passionate about, a cause that you want to stand for, or like whatever that you feel there's a market for that particular thing, and supplement your income. Because with one salary, it's not working. Like, it's just not working. If things are continuing at this rate, it's just not working. It's just not going to work. So try to find ways to supplement your income, and online as well. Try to find means to make money online. And I have to say, like, we make it sound so easy, like it's so easy to make money online, but what I've realized is it's not. Like, I tried publishing my poetry collection on Amazon, for example. I thought that would, it will do really well, but I found that you have to sort of have a good marketing strategy, which I think I didn't have. And so my royalties from Amazon, shame there, they're not that much. I don't think I've made more than 500 ever since I published my poetry collection on Amazon. So it's also like those things that you need to be like cognizant of, to say, how am I going to market this thing, especially if you are going to, publish something in a very saturated or whatever market that's already really big, and you need to fight hard to get people's attention. So if you guys have other ways of making money, or you are making money in other ways, please guys, plug us. You know what they say, plug us in the comment section. Tell us how you're making additional money. But another passive sort of source of income is through shares that earn you dividends, earning dividends from shares and all of that. And I think when I do another segment with a friend of mine, we will touch deep on those shares and all of that. I think it's also a good way. Investments are a good way for you to also just earn money, so long, because this economy is not the one. Now, moving on, right? Since we've spoken about your income, the second part is, your fixed expenses. Now, these are the things that you can't live without. Like, you are logged in. You already know how much they're going to be on a monthly basis because you logged in. So it can either be your rent, it can either be, your car installments, it can either be, your utilities. Okay, utilities are sort of variable because depending on how much you use and all of that. But these are things that on a month-to-month basis. I'm going to spend a certain amount on those things, like your data or Wi-Fi contract and all of that. So recently, what I've just been doing, I now work for a bank, right? And when I started working, I felt I didn't really want to move my car to the bank like immediately, because what if I get there, child, and I'm like, I don't like this place, and I've already committed stuff and I'm moving stuff all over and all of that. But I then decided, let me just move my car from, my Investec account to my employer's bank, my employer, which is a bank, to my employer, because then I benefit from staff rates, right? So instead of getting prime minus 1% from Investec, I'm getting like prime minus 2.5%, which is significant, honestly. Like my installment went down, right? So I'm saving here and there, but with the savings that I'm making on my budget, I'm like, it's actually really expensive for me right now to actually have debt, because interest rates are like up there. Remember, interest rate, that's the cost of borrowing money. So now when they're increasing, it just means if you are sitting on debt, it's getting more and more expensive. So my plan is the little bucks that I was paying, right? So the difference, I think the difference in my installments is actually close to like 600 Rand. So just to continue to pay the same amount, I'm not gonna now say, oh, I've moved my car to my employer, I'm getting staff rates, I'm paying less and all of that. So I plan to actually just take that additional 600 that I'll be saving to just throw it in back to pay off the car as soon as possible. Like, it's just like the little changes that you can make as well, like in your life, to say, okay, is there a chance for me to save on interest rates? And what our people do not know, right? And I just remembered, content of this video do not constitute as financial advice. What I just remembered is just how our people don't understand that when situations like this are happening, like where interest rates are high and you're struggling, you feel like you are being squeezed financially, it's also, an option for you to go to your bank and say, perhaps when you took out a loan or when you took out a certain line of credit, your credit score wasn't that good, but now your credit score is good. You can actually now go back to the bank and say, can we renegotiate the terms of my loan, like get favorable interest rates and all of that, because you now have a good credit score. So that's always an option. Like, say for example, you took out a loan and it was like prime plus 3% and all of that. Now that's like ridiculous, but you have a really good credit score right now. You can go back to the bank and say, can we renegotiate the terms of my loan? And in that negotiation, maybe it might be a thing of you now being charged like a lower interest rate and all of that. They'll tell you about the process and all of that. So this is the time to be more proactive and not just sit down and hope that things will resolve themselves. And another one is, with debt and things just becoming more expensive, it's also a thing of, there are other options that are available to, like, perhaps increase the term of your loan so that you breathe in the short run, but that just means you'll pay more interest and you pay back the loan over a longer term. But like, those are some of the ways in which you can try to at least, catch pockets of air or like pockets of sense here and there in your budget. And another big one is insurance. So I've just been sitting down and like thinking, how do I cut down on my costs? Because things are getting expensive. So with insurance, I had a session with a financial coach. When was this? Before I got my bonus. So that would be beginning of March this year. And we were just talking also around, okay, how can I save, here and there and all of that? Because my thing now is, okay, I want to just pay off whatever it is that I need to pay off, like the apartment, pay off the car and all of that. So we were sort of trying to come up with a plan as to how can I pay these things off quickly, but at the same time have pockets of air here and there, right? To say, I don't want to be like that person who's paying off stuff, but I'm no longer living comfortably. Like I no longer like buy groceries, or like I can no longer afford going out and all of that. So then they say to me, hey, you can actually try to now, you've been driving for over like 2.5 years. how about you go around now, shop for insurance, right? And also just try to find like an insurance option that rewards you for driving less, right? So those cashbacks and all of that. So we spoke about that, and now what I ended up doing is I then changed. So I was using My Way. I think I've told you guys that I'm using My Way, although this is not like an advertisement for My Way. There's a thing called My Way Blink. So I decided, let me change from just normal My Way to My Way Blink, because when I don't drive more than, I think if you drive less than 1,000 kilometers on a monthly basis, then you get like cashback depending on how many kilometers you drove in that particular month. Number one, I work from home like Monday to Friday. There are days where I go to the office. Honestly, when I'm driving my car because it's either I'm going to Pretoria to see my sister, which doesn't happen every week. I'm going to church on Wednesdays and on Sundays. So it's like, okay, cool. Within a month, I rarely drive more than 500 kilometers, if I'm being honest. Unless if I have like additional trips that I'm doing and all of that. But it's really more than 800 kilometers a month. So I was like, oh, that's actually like a good option. So I now transfer to that. I think I'll give you guys feedback on how it's going over time, because you never know. I'll give you guys feedback on how much I'm saving, how it's going, what the rules are and all of that. Because right now I feel like, in as much as I know in theory what's supposed to happen, I haven't really had the experience because this is my first month. So it's important to do such things. It's not only My Way. Other insurers also like give you cash back and all of that. So do try to find those deals that will reward you for either driving safely. I know Discovery does that. If you are a good driver, you drive, you stick to the speed limit and all of that, they can give you cash back and all of that, or save, or you can pay less on your premiums and all of that. So it's important to find ways to save on insurance as well. Another important thing to mention is, you know how every year your insurer increases your premium? It's a thing, like especially for like your short-term insurance, so your car, your house and all of that, they will normally send you a letter like a month in advance to tell you that the new premium is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What people don't actually know, I think I saw Zwanda emphasizing on it on her video. What people don't actually know is that you can actually call your insurer and say, listen, bro, I don't have enough money, right, to actually afford this new premium. And they can work around that still with the same benefits. I did it last year because they increased my premium, and I called them. I was like, guys, I don't understand why you're increasing, my premium. And they were like, well, why? What's going on? Are you not happy? I'm like, I've never been in an accident. I've never claimed. So I don't understand why my premium is increasing. And when you start like asking those questions, then they take you to like their managers and things, and then at the end they ended up like coming up with a really great deal for me, and my premium went down, I think from like 1.4 to like 1.2. So it's those things, those people who do not call to inquire why their premiums are increasing, they will get the increases on a year-to-year basis. And the insurer is essentially just like, oh, okay, it seems like you don't have a problem with this. So what you can do is, shop around for insurance. And then if you get like a lower quote, go to your insurer. Try to ask your insurer to actually bid the quote that you got. Because at the end of the day, it's really difficult for insurers to like capture a new customer versus retaining a customer that's already in their books. Like you're already in their books, it's easier for them to retain you rather than them going out and actually finding someone totally new. So use that to your advantage. Like, in as much as they want to increase prices, we are squeezed in this economy. So definitely call them and be like, yo, I saw you increase my premium. Cyril's economy is not allowing me to flex like that on my finances. So those are like some of the things, or some of the chats you can have to just try to at least lessen the pressure that's on your budget like currently. Another one is the issue of rent, right? It can either be renting or like your bond or whatever, but with the bond, I guess it's a long one. It's a long-term one. You can try to perhaps, if you're on a 20-year bond, try to increase it to like a 30-year bond or whatever, but just know that by doing that, you're paying more in interest, and you're going to be repaying that thing for longer. So that's just like something to be conscious about. But if you feel like you are squeezed and you honestly cannot, then speak to your bank as to what are some of your options. Is it increasing the term? Is them like reducing your interest rates? Have those open, conversations with your bank. And I think a lot of people, I'll speak about Black people because I feel as Black people, we don't really have this knowledge. We don't understand these things. Like, we just feel like a financial institution, enters into an agreement with you, and then the only point that you go back to talk to them, it's either when this thing is ending or when they're supposed to pay you out like your money. For example, with an insurance company, we just feel like you only call your insurer when you want to claim or when you want to cancel your policy. And it doesn't have to be like that. It's a long-term relationship, right? They sold you a promise. That's what insurance companies do. They sell you a promise. And after selling you a promise, they need to walk this journey with you. Your relationship doesn't end after they sold you the promise. Your relationship with them ends when you alternatively cancel, or when your policy lapses or whatever happens, when your policy is no longer enforced. That's when the relationship is done. But as long as you guys are still in agreement, you are meant to be in this thing together. And the same goes for banks. The same goes for every financial institution that we deal with, to say your relationship with them doesn't end the day you enter into a transaction with them. It's actually a continuation. If I have a loan with you, our relationship doesn't end when you grant me the loan. We still need to communicate in between. It's customer service. If things are not happening on your side, don't hesitate to call your bank. That's what they're there for. Don't hesitate to call your bank and say, hey, can we try work around this? For some cases, they might refer you to a financial advisor, or you might need to speak to a consultant within a branch in a bank. Those are some of the options that you have. So don't ever feel afraid to actually approach them and say, this is not working out. This thing is not happening. So it's quite important to know and remind yourself that, especially when times are tough like this, that's when you need to be like, can we try find options? Don't die, alone. I was still talking about the issue of rent, right? Currently, what I'm doing, I just told myself I don't need to be in a fancy place. I don't need to be in a really, really fancy place and all of that. Although it's my desire to get myself a house, a young house or whatever down the line, but it's not something that I'm putting myself, pressure on. I'm putting myself under pressure to say I need to do it now and all of that. And I also just wanted to chat around, one way to reduce, your expenses, your fixed expenses can be, can you actually try save on rent, right? Save on rent either by sharing with someone, or save on rent by moving to a cheaper place, which might not be as, aesthetically pleasing. You just need to decide on what is important for you. Some people want their comfort and their aesthetics, and they are willing to pay for that, and their budgets, allow for that. That's okay. Other people might be squeezed right now, and I feel like this is the time where, to be quite honest, there's no shame in downsizing or downgrading, if we might call it like that. There's no shame in downsizing or downgrading simply because things are tough. How will it help you to rely on credit on a month-to-month basis to keep up appearances, to continue going out to fancy restaurants, or doing things that you know very well that they are, financed by credit, because credit is really expensive these days, to continue living like that because if I downsize, what will people say? I think what will people say is the list of your problems. What will people say shouldn't influence your finances, and the financial decisions that you're making. What will people say? Hey, that's not even an option. Why are we even talking about other people? Because these are your finances and they're personal to you as an individual. So I would just like to say, holding off on some things, you will move to, a better place when your finances allow. Right now, if your finances don't allow, move to a cheaper place, or if you have an additional room that you're not using, then rent out that room, or like whatever. It's those things. And you also need to say, okay, what am I willing to like compromise on, and what am I not willing to compromise on as far as my budget is concerned, right? And then now there is an issue of electricity. I was thinking about electricity and my own electricity bill, and I was like, shucks. I spend half of the day without, okay, not really half of the day, I think I'm exaggerating, but on average like 8 hours a day without electricity. But funny enough, my electricity bill, even before they increased the price of units, right, in April, even before Eskom increased the price of units in April, my electricity bill moves around same figures. The fact that I am on load shedding doesn't even reflect on my electricity bill. But small things that you can do is to switch off the geyser. I know the geyser chows power for a lot of people. So switch off the geyser when you're not using, it. So switch it on in the morning, for example, when you want to shower and all of that. And then there are those things, I don't know what they're called, but that they can install in your, what do you call it, the board, whatever, electric board or whatever, where you can set times like, your geyser should switch on between these times and this time. So you can do it in the morning and also in the evening after work, for example, if you want to shower or whatever. So those are like some of the little things that you can do. Instead of using, a gas, and literally winter is coming, instead of using like an electric heater, try perhaps use a gas heater and all of that, but just be safe, because there are dangers that comes with electric heaters and all of that. For those who own properties and all of that, even with load shedding is worse. Instead of having an electric stove, move on to having like a gas stove. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to like pull money together to actually just have a stove that the top part of the stove uses gas, the bottom part of the stove uses like electricity. I don't bake every day. I love cooking, so I'll just cook, and whether power is there or not, I'll be able to do that. If you have money, then alternative, but then if you're going alternative power sources like solar and all of that, those things are expensive, so you just need to set aside enough money. But it's something that like you rest assured that it's a good investment in the long run. You might have to incur really big upfront costs and all of that, but in the long run it will benefit you. But anyways, let's move on. Let me just check if I left out other things. Oh yeah, food. My grocery bill used to be around 1.5, honestly, 1.5. That was like the maximum that I would go, because I'll do like grocery shopping for 1,000, and then I'll have 500 just for my fruits. I love fruits a lot. I snack on fruits and bread and all those additional things that I might buy during the month, right? And then I didn't do takeaways like quite a lot, so it was okay. But now I'm seeing how my groceries never really go to my groceries are no longer on 1.5 a month. Like now it's like 2,000, and I still have to spend like on bread and fruits and all of that. So I've like literally seen my grocery bill go up by close to like 1,000 rands. So with food and all of that, and this is not me changing the type of stuff that I was buying, but it's legit based on the fact that food is just expensive. Like I was looking at it like, am I buying things that I was not buying? What's the problem with my food? Food is genuinely expensive. And so what I'm trying to do is, sometimes the plate doesn't need to have 7 colors. I can't believe I'm saying this. Sometimes the plate doesn't need to have 7 colors, because those robots might be, expensive. But trying to take advantage of the bulk, specials that they have in store, I think for me that's been helping. But honestly, genuinely for food, I tried to say, well, how can I save on food? At this point, I haven't found other ways to sort of save on food. But if you guys have other things that you have tried out and they've worked, hey guys, please plug us in the thing that I will just talk about is your entertainment and all of that. Some people have expensive hobbies. Like, I love trying out new food. I love bougie restaurants. I won't lie, that's like my one thing. I love going to bougie restaurants and all of that. Those are expensive. I've like subbed my hobbies now. I'm focusing on hiking. I'm focusing on hiking now because I'm like, I don't have money, like 1,000 rand to spend on one meal, because most of the time the bill will be close to 1,000 rand if you're going to a really bougie fine dining restaurant. So I'm like, I don't have money for that. I'm redirecting my finances here. I've got bigger goals and bigger fish to fry. So those are like some of the things you can do. Shop around hobbies. Go for something that's cheaper. This is the time where I wish I was in Cape Town, because Cape Town, to hike like a lot of places, it's actually free. So take advantage of the free hobbies that you can like still do and all of that. But it's important at the end of the day to sit down with your budget and try find ways to save on that particular budget. Like, there are always ways and means for you to save money. So I hope you found this video really useful, informative, fun to watch. If you guys love this kind of content, don't forget to just mention it. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Just, I love hearing from you guys. Or, if you have any other suggestions or like other ways you are saving on your budget during this tough economic times, listen, Amanda, let us know. I love you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video. Mwah. Bye.